So can you see my screen? Can you see the VS Code? Okay. Yeah, so this topic is about the navigation, if you remember the navigation that we've done previously. So to move the state, we usually use other tools, and we just keep router for only for routing, for just moving between like pages. And if you remember, we learned about use parameter, where we passed ID. Um, where it was. So we can, yeah, it's this one. So we can use parameters to take parameters like this one here, but we can also send state between components. So the difference is, let's look at our routes. So this is a parameter. We can send a parameter, and once we receive the URL, we can say we define the use parameter function or hook from the React router DOM, and then take that parameter, and then we can access. It's an object, and we can access the ID. So this parameter is used usually, to define if we have, let's say, multiple messages or multiple books in the case of our React assignment. So each book with its characteristics, like the name and authors, etc. So each one of those has an ID. So we define parameter in the URL to define we pass a parameter to access the intended book. But sometimes you might also want to pass state between components. So I'm going to show you how we can do this quickly. So in the link, you can just say state. And let's say I want to pass a state here. And so I can just where I assign the link, and I assign the destination, I can also pass a state, and I can receive that state in the path. I go to chat, and here I can use something called location. Use location. So use location basically tells me the current URL that I'm in, which is in this case, since I've assigned /chat, it's the host name /chat. So I take that, and then I can say constant past state equal location dot state. So as you can see, the state is linked to the location, and the location is, again, it is the current location object, the current URL. So this is related to routing, related to URLs. So you can pass state while the user is jumping from a page to another. And then I can easily, for instance, here, I can view the state. So the state here, let's say this is the state. Okay, and now is not defined. Oh. So as you can see, in the app, I'm saving this state, passing state. I'm assigning this initial value here. And with the chat, I'm passing the state to chat. I'm receiving it by accessing the location, the URL, and then from the location, I'm telling, okay, give me the state, and then I'm displaying it. So this is how you can pass a state. And again, we have the parameter. So yeah, so those three main topics that we want to use with React router. The routing itself and passing routing with a parameter, then routing with a state. But if you face any difficulties with other than those topics, yeah, let me know.
Sorry, Yaman, can you just elaborate a little bit more? When do we use this routing by state and routing by parameters?
So routing by parameters is when you are passing a variable like this, and this is usually related to the backend. So I can give you the context rather than a certain situation. So the context of passing parameters here is if you remember mock API, we have different items, and each item has a different ID. So this is a variable, and this is related to data. So I want to view the topic, but the content is different, and the content is based on the ID. So I define a parameter. Now the state is we usually pass a state from we using props from the parent to the child. But let's say you have a state that you want to pass if the user was at a certain location and clicked on a certain path, then I want the user to take a state, to pass a state with. So why we do this? Again, state is when we want to store something for interactivity. In this scenario, we are going to refresh the page anyway. Yeah, so we are passing only the state, we cannot update it back. So interactivity is not an option here.
So state is the way the what's that? The screen is looking, the display is looking, or is the state the way state that we understand? It's the variable, when we do use state, or so we are assigning values or initializing it, or
Yeah,
state is that, right?
state is that, yes. No, state is the item itself. So we are passing the state, it's not the function.
Okay, so passing state, so set passing state actually sets the variable that
would set the variable, yeah.
This is the way, yeah.
But then you pass the state to another component through the router itself.
Okay.
So, yeah, we usually pass okay. A clear example would be, if you remember, we usually pass the state using for instance here, we can pass the state, like this is the description, but we are passing it using props, right? But you can also do the same, but you can pass a state using the router.
Router. Okay. Okay.
So, yeah. So your question is why we pass through
Routers.
props. So there's different scenarios where we pass through props. We want to pass data from the parent to the child. This is how React works. So we define a property and then we pass our data through it. But also, if you can pass a state from a URL to another, from a page to another.
Oh, okay.
And you can do this using the state keyword here. And at the destination, you can define location, and then you can get the state like this.
Okay. 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 Got it. Thank you so much.
Sure.